The mimosa tasted like poison in my mouth. I sat there in the bright sunlight streaming through the restaurant windows, wearing my favorite red dress, watching my fiancé Trevor Hayes smile at his friends Brad and Kyle like he was about to tell the funniest joke in the world. We were at Riverside Bistro, the same place where he'd proposed to me exactly 1 year ago. The same table even. I thought he brought me here for something special. Maybe to celebrate our upcoming wedding, which was supposed to happen in exactly 3 weeks. I was so wrong. So, Simone, Trevor said, leaning back in his chair with this casual confidence that made my stomach twist. I've been thinking a lot lately. About us. About the wedding. About everything. I smiled, assuming he was about to say something sweet. Maybe he was nervous about the big day. A lot of grooms got cold feet, right? We'd work through it together. I'm calling off the wedding, he said. Just like that. 5 words that shattered everything. I don't love you anymore. The restaurant noise seemed to fade away. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. Brad and Kyle exchanged glances, smirking like they'd been in on some secret. The Sunday brunch crowd around us continued eating their eggs Benedict and French toast, completely unaware that my entire world had just collapsed. What? The word came out smaller than I intended. Trevor sighed like I was being difficult. Come on, Simone. You had to know this wasn't working. We've grown apart. I need someone who gets me, you know? Someone who's more exciting. More adventurous. You're great, don't get me wrong. You're stable and reliable, but that's not what I need right now. Stable. Reliable. The words felt like slaps across my face. This was the man I'd spent 4 years with. The man I'd rearranged my entire life around. I'd turned down job opportunities in other cities to stay close to him. I'd spent countless evenings attending his work functions, supporting his career, being the perfect partner. Brad laughed. Actually laughed. Dude, you're really doing this now? At brunch. When else? Trevor shrugged. The wedding's in 3 weeks. Better now than at the altar, right? Kyle was recording on his phone. Recording. This humiliating moment was being captured for posterity, probably to be shared with their whole friend group later. Something cold settled in my chest. Not sadness. Not yet. Something sharper. Clear. Thank you for your honesty, I heard myself say. My voice sounded calm. Almost pleasant. I reached down and twisted the engagement ring off my finger. The 2-carat diamond caught the sunlight. I loved this ring. I'd stared at it on my finger during meetings, during morning coffee, during late-night planning sessions for our wedding. I set it down on the table between us with a soft click. I appreciate you telling me now, I continued, still in that eerily calm voice. You're right. Better now than later. Trevor looked surprised. Maybe he'd expected tears. Begging. Maybe he'd wanted me to make a scene so he could feel justified in his decision. So he could tell people, see? She was so emotional. So unstable. I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction. I picked up my phone and opened my notes app. My hands were steady. So, I'll need to contact the venue, the caterer, the florist, the DJ, the photographer. I looked up at him. I assume you'll want to help with the cancellation fees? Since you're the one calling it off. I mean, we can talk about that later, he stammered. No, I think we should talk about it now. In front of your friends. Since you thought this was the appropriate time and place. I smiled. It didn't reach my eyes. You said I'm stable and reliable, right? Well, here's some stability for you. I'm keeping the deposits for everything that can't be refunded. Consider it compensation for the 4 years I spent building a life around your schedule. Brad wasn't laughing anymore. I stood up, smoothing down my red dress. Everyone at nearby tables was staring now. Perfect. Actually, I said loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear, I'm going to send out a new round of invitations. To everyone who was invited to our wedding. But instead of a wedding, I'm hosting a dodged-a-bullet party. Same date. Same venue. Because I think that's worth celebrating, don't you? Trevor's face went pale. Simone, don't be ridiculous. You can't. Can't what? Celebrate the fact that I found out who you really are before I legally tied myself to you? I picked up my purse. Oh, and Trevor? His friends stopped laughing when I added this part. I leaned in close enough that only our table could hear, but loud enough that I knew they'd all catch every word. I know about Heather. I've known for 2 weeks. I know you've been sleeping with her for the past 6 months. I know you've been taking her to hotels on your business trips. I know you bought her a bracelet from the same jeweler where you bought my ring. I know everything. Trevor's face went from pale to gray. His mouth opened and closed like a fish. I was waiting to see if you'd come clean. If you'd be honest. But instead, You chose to humiliate me in public in front of your friends at the place where you proposed. I stepped back. So now everyone here knows. And soon everyone we know will know. Not because I'm going to trash you, but because I'm going to tell the truth. Every single time someone asks me why the wedding's off, I'm going to tell them exactly what happened. Simone, wait. Trevor stood up, reaching for me. I moved back. Don't touch me. Don't call me. Don't text me. My brother Andre will pick up my things from your apartment tomorrow. Any communication from now on goes through him. I looked at Brad and Kyle. Both of them had put their phones down. Kyle had actually stopped recording. You two might want to think about the kind of man you're friends with, I said quietly. A man who humiliates someone who loved him. A man who cheats for 6 months and then has the nerve to act like he's doing her a favor by calling things off. A man who thinks this. I gestured at the table at the restaurant at this whole horrible scene, is acceptable behavior. Then I turned to the whole restaurant. Several tables had completely stopped eating to watch. I'm sorry for the disruption, I said clearly. I just found out my fiancé has been cheating on me and decided to call off our wedding 3 weeks before the date. At Sunday brunch. In public. If anyone needs a good event planner, I'm available. I clearly have some free time coming up. A woman at the next table actually started clapping. Then another. Then a few more people joined in. It wasn't enthusiastic applause, more like supportive acknowledgement. Like they were saying, we see you. We're with you. I walked out of Riverside Bistro with my head high and my shoulders back. I made it all the way to my car. I got inside. I locked the doors. I put my hands on the steering wheel. And then I completely fell apart. The sobs came from somewhere deep in my chest. Huge, gasping breaths that made my whole body shake. I'd held it together in there. I'd been strong and dignified and controlled. But now, alone in my car with the afternoon sun beating down on me, I could finally feel it. The betrayal. The humiliation. The loss. Not just of Trevor, but of the future I'd imagined. The wedding I'd spent months planning. The life we were supposed to build together. The children we talked about having. The house we were going to buy next year. Gone. All of it. In 5 words delivered over brunch. My phone buzzed. Then again. And again. Text messages flooding in. I looked down through blurry eyes. Nicole, where are you? Kyle just posted a video and then deleted it, but I saw it. I'm coming to you right now. Andre, just saw something on social media. Tell me where you are. Now. My mom, Simone, honey, someone just called me. What happened? Word was spreading fast. Of course it was. This was going to be everywhere by tonight. Every mutual friend we had. Every family member. Everyone at Trevor's office and mine. Part of me wanted to be embarrassed. To hide. To pretend this hadn't happened in such a spectacularly public way. But another part of me, the part that had found the strength to stand up and walk out of that restaurant, felt something different. I felt free. I wasn't the villain in this story. I wasn't the one who'd cheated. I wasn't the one who'd humiliated someone I claimed to love. I wasn't the one who'd thrown away 4 years like they meant nothing. That was all Trevor. I took a shaky breath and wiped my eyes. My mascara was probably ruined. My red dress was wrinkled from gripping the steering wheel. My hair, which I'd spent an hour perfecting this morning, was a mess. But I was still here. Still breathing. Still myself. I picked up my phone and called Nicole. I'm in the parking lot at Riverside, I said. My voice was hoarse from crying. Can you come get me? I don't think I should drive. I'm already on my way, Nicole said. I'm 5 minutes out. Stay on the phone with me. He did it in front of his friends, I whispered. Like it was entertainment. I know, honey. I know. He's been cheating on me for 6 months. I'm going to destroy him, Nicole said flatly. She was a lawyer and right now she sounded like one. Not physically, but legally, socially, professionally. He's done. I don't want revenge, I said. Then I paused. Actually, that's a lie. I want revenge. But not the kind that makes me look crazy or obsessive. I want the kind of revenge where I become so successful and so happy that he spends the rest of his life regretting what he threw away. That's my girl, Nicole said. I could hear her car in the background. That's exactly the kind of revenge you're going to get. But first, we're going to get you home, get you out of that dress, and we're going to make a plan. A plan? You said you're throwing a dodge-to-bullet party. We're going to make it the best party this city has ever seen. We're going to celebrate you. Your freedom. Your future. And we're going to make sure everyone knows that you're the winner in this situation. Despite everything, I almost smiled. You think I can actually pull that off? Simone, you're the best event planner I know. You've organized weddings for celebrities. You've done corporate events for Fortune 500 companies. You can absolutely plan your own celebration. And you're going to look so stunning and so happy that Trevor will realize he made the biggest mistake of his life. I saw Nicole's car pull into the parking lot. She was driving too fast, probably breaking several traffic laws to get to me. Thank you, I said softly, for coming. Where else would I be? Nicole pulled up next to my car. I could see her through the window, phone pressed to her ear, looking fierce and protective. Now let's get you home. We have a lot of work to do. I gathered my purse, took one last look at myself in the rearview mirror, and got out of the car. My legs felt shaky. My whole body felt like it had been through something traumatic, which I supposed it had. But I was standing. I was walking. I was moving forward. Because that's what I did. That's who I was. Stable. Reliable. And apparently, a lot stronger than Trevor Hayes had ever realized. Nicole drove me home in silence. Not uncomfortable silence, but the kind that let me breathe and think and process without having to explain myself. She knew me well enough to understand that I needed space before I could talk about it. My apartment looked the same as when I'd left it that morning. The wedding planning binder still sat on the coffee table, filled with fabric samples and seating charts and menu options. Trevor's Columbia University hoodie was draped over the back of my couch. His toothbrush was in my bathroom. Half his closet was in my bedroom because he'd been gradually moving his things in over the past year. Evidence of a life we'd been building together. Evidence of my own stupidity. Okay, Nicole said, setting her purse down and rolling up the sleeves of her green blouse. First things first. Do you want to destroy his stuff, or do you want me to pack it up professionally so he can't claim you damaged anything? I looked at the hoodie. Part of me wanted to cut it into pieces. Burn it. Throw it off my balcony. But that would make me feel better for maybe 30 seconds and then I'd just feel worse. Pack it up, I said. Everything. I want every trace of him out of here by tomorrow. Good choice. The high road is harder, but you'll be glad you took it. Nicole pulled out her phone. I'm texting Andre to get boxes and come help. This is a two-person job. I nodded and sank down onto my couch. The afternoon sunlight streamed through my windows, cheerful and bright, completely at odds with how I felt inside. Can I ask you something? I said quietly. Anything. You saw the video. Before Kyle deleted it. Was I struggled to find the words. Did I handle it okay? Or did I look pathetic? Nicole sat down next to me. Simone, you looked like a woman who just discovered she had a spine made of steel. You were calm, collected, and devastating. Trevor looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. His friends looked ashamed. You came out of that situation looking powerful. I cried in my car for 20 minutes after. That's allowed. You just had your heart broken in public. You're allowed to fall apart in private. That's what private is for. She squeezed my hand. What happened in that restaurant? That's what people are going to remember. Not the crying. The strength. My phone buzzed again. More messages pouring in. I looked down at the screen. Friends from college. People from work. Even some clients. All of them had somehow heard already. Most messages were supportive. A few were nosy, fishing for details. One was from my cousin asking if I was okay and if she should come over. And then I saw it. A message from an unknown number. Simone, we need to talk. This isn't how I wanted things to go. Please call me. I showed Nicole the message. She made a sound of disgust. Block him. Right now. Maybe I should hear what he has to say. No. Nicole's voice was firm. He doesn't get to control the narrative anymore. He doesn't get to explain or justify or ask for your understanding. He made his choice. He called off the wedding in public. He humiliated you on purpose. You owe him nothing. Not your time, not your attention, and definitely not your forgiveness. She was right. I knew she was right. But 4 years of being with someone doesn't just disappear in an afternoon. Part of me still wanted to fix this. To understand. To hear his side. That part of me was the problem. I blocked the number. There, I said. Done. Good. Now, I need you to tell me something. You said you've known about Heather for 2 weeks. How did you find out? I leaned back against the couch cushions. His laptop. He left it open on my kitchen table one morning before work. I was going to close it, but I saw an email notification pop up. From her. With a subject line that said, "Last night was incredible." Nicole's expression darkened. I know I shouldn't have, but I opened it. And there were dozens of emails. Text he'd forwarded to his email. Pictures. I closed my eyes, not wanting to see those images again in my mind. Everything. They've been together for 6 months. They met at some conference his company sent him to. She works in marketing for a competitor. Did you confront him? No. I was going to, but then I thought about it. I thought about what he might say. That it was just physical. That it didn't mean anything. That he loved me, not her. All the things cheaters say. I opened my eyes. I wanted to see what he would do. If he'd come clean on his own. If he'd call off the affair and choose me. But instead he called off the wedding. Yeah, he chose her. And he was such a coward about it that he did it in front of his friends so they'd back him up. So he'd feel justified and supported. I felt anger rising in my chest again. He could have told me privately. At home. Just the two of us. But he turned it into a spectacle. The apartment door opened. Andre walked in carrying a stack of flattened boxes. My older brother was tall and broad-shouldered, with the same dark eyes and warm brown skin I had. Right now those eyes looked furious. Where is he? Andre asked without preamble. I need an address. No, I said immediately. You're not going to confront him. That's what he'd want. Then he gets to be the victim. The guy whose ex's family harassed him. Simone, he humiliated my baby sister in public. And I handled it. I'm handling it. I stood up. What I need from you is to get his stuff out of my apartment and take it to him. Tomorrow. I'll text you his address. You walk in, drop the boxes, and walk out. No words. No confrontation. Nothing he can use later. Andre looked like he wanted to argue, but Nicole nodded at him. She's right. This is her show. We follow her lead. Fine, Andre muttered. But if he tries anything, if he comes near you or contacts you, then you can do whatever you want, I said. But for now we do this clean. We spent the next 2 hours packing up Trevor's things. Every shirt, every book, every random item he'd left scattered around my apartment. Nicole was methodical, labeling boxes and taking photos of everything. Documentation, she explained. Just in case. Andre just packed silently, his jaw tight. I found myself sitting on my bedroom floor at one point, holding a framed photo of Trevor and me from a vacation in Mexico last year. We looked happy. Tan and smiling, arms around each other, ocean behind us. Had he been thinking about cheating even then? Had I missed signs? Stop, Nicole said gently. She'd appeared in the doorway. I can see your brain spiraling. You're wondering what you missed, what you could have done differently. Stop. How can I not? For years, Nicole. For years, and I didn't see this coming. Because you're not a mind reader. Because he's a liar. Because he hid it well. She sat down next to me. This isn't on you. None of this is on you. Then why does it feel like it is? Because that's what betrayal does. It makes you question everything. Your judgment, your worth, your reality. But listen to me. She took the photo from my hands and set it aside. You are smart, successful, beautiful, and kind. You loved him honestly. You were faithful. You built a life with him. He's the one who threw it away. That's his failure, not yours. I wanted to believe her. I did believe her logically. But emotionally, I felt like I was drowning. My phone rang. My mom. I'd been avoiding her calls, not ready to have that conversation yet. But I couldn't avoid her forever. Hi, Mom. Simone Patricia Richardson, I have been calling you for 3 hours. My mother's voice was sharp with worry. Someone told me Trevor called off the wedding. Please tell me that's not true. It's true. He told me today at brunch. In front of his friends. The silence on the other end was heavy. Then quietly, are you okay? No. But I will be. Where are you? At my apartment. Nicole and Andre are here. I'm coming over. Mom, you don't have to. I'm already in the car. And the line went dead. I looked at Nicole. My mom's coming. Good. You need your family right now. By the time my mom arrived, we packed up everything except a few items in the bathroom. Patricia Richardson swept into my apartment like a force of nature, took one look at me and pulled me into a hug so tight I could barely breathe. My baby, she murmured. My sweet baby girl. And just like that, I was crying again. All the strength I'd been holding on to dissolved in my mother's arms. I sobbed into her shoulder while she stroked my hair and made soothing sounds. It's okay, she whispered. Let it out. Let it all out. When I finally pulled away, my mom looked at the boxes stacked by the door. Then she looked at Andre. You're taking these to him tomorrow? First thing in the morning. Good. She turned to me. And what are you doing? I wiped my eyes. I'm throwing a party. At the venue where the wedding was supposed to be. I dodged a bullet party. My mom studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled. Not a big smile, but a small, proud one. That's my daughter. Turning pain into power. She squeezed my hands. Now, let's order some food and figure out exactly how we're going to make this the best party this city has ever seen. We ordered Chinese food and spread out across my living room floor. Nicole pulled up the wedding planning binder and started making notes. Andre called the restaurant and arranged for them to cater the party. My mom started drafting the invitation text on her phone. We need to be classy about this, Mom said. No trash talking Trevor. No making yourself look desperate or bitter. Just honest and upbeat. How about this? Nicole suggested, reading from her laptop. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding of Simone Richardson and Trevor Hayes has been cancelled. However, Simone will still be celebrating on the original date at the original venue. Please join her for a new beginning party to honor fresh starts and second chances. Dress code, your most vibrant outfit. Bring your joy. I love it, I said. It's perfect. Classy but clear. Should we mention what happened? Andre asked. No need, Mom said. Everyone who matters already knows or will know by tomorrow. Let them draw their own conclusions. We worked late into the evening, planning and organizing and creating something beautiful out of my disaster. The party would have music, dancing, good food, and a celebration of life moving forward. No mentions of Trevor except in the general context of dodging a bullet. No bitterness. No anger. Just me standing tall, proving that I was going to be better than fine. Around midnight, Nicole and Andre finally headed home. My mom stayed, insisting on sleeping on my couch. I'm not leaving you alone tonight, she said firmly. I was too tired to argue. I changed into my pajamas and lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling. My engagement ring was gone. My fiancé was gone. My future as I'd imagined it was gone. But I was still here. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough for now. I woke up to the smell of coffee and my mother's voice drifting from the kitchen. She was on the phone with someone, and from the sound of it, she was systematically calling everyone in our extended family to update them on the situation. No, she's not heartbroken, she's handling it beautifully. Yes, there's going to be a party. No, I don't think she needs you to call Trevor and give him a piece of your mind, Aunt Ruth. I smiled despite myself and rolled out of bed. My eyes were swollen from crying last night. My whole body felt heavy, like I'd been hit by something large and fast-moving. But I was awake. I was standing. I was moving. The morning sun streamed through my bedroom windows, bright and cheerful. I'd always loved this apartment, with its large windows and view of the park below. Trevor had wanted me to move into his place downtown, which was bigger but darker, with small windows and a view of a brick wall. I'd been planning to do it after the wedding. Now I never would. This apartment was mine. My space. My sanctuary. I found my mom in the kitchen, phone tucked between her ear and shoulder while she scrambled eggs. She just woke up, Ruth. I'll have her call you later. Yes, I know. I love you too. She hung up and smiled at me. Good morning, sweetheart. How did you sleep? Like someone who had their life implode yesterday, I said, sitting at the kitchen counter. So not great. That's to be expected. She slid a plate of eggs and toast in front of me. You need your strength. We have a busy day ahead. What kind of busy? The kind where we cancel a wedding and plan a better party. She poured me coffee. Andre texted me this morning. He dropped off Trevor's things an hour ago. Said Trevor looked terrible. Didn't sleep. Tried to talk, but Andre just walked away. I hoped Trevor felt terrible. I hoped he was drowning in regret. Any calls from him? Mom asked. I blocked his number. Smart girl. I picked at my breakfast. My stomach felt like it was tied in knots. Mom, can I ask you something? Of course. How did you know Dad was the right one? How did you know he wouldn't hurt you like this? My parents had been married for 35 years. High school sweethearts who'd built a life together, raised 2 kids, and still looked at each other like they were in love. Mom sat down across from me. Honestly, I didn't know. Not with complete certainty. No one does. Love always involves risk. But what I did know was that your father was consistent. He showed up. He kept his word. He treated me with respect even when we disagreed. And most importantly, he never made me feel like I had to change who I was to deserve his love. Trevor made me feel like that, I said quietly. Like I had to be more exciting, more adventurous, more something. Then he wasn't your person. Your person is someone who loves you exactly as you are and encourages you to grow in the directions you want to grow, not the directions they want to shape you into. I thought about that. About the ways I'd been changing myself without even realizing it. Turning down opportunities. Adjusting my schedule. Making myself smaller to fit into Trevor's life. I lost myself, I said. A little, Mom agreed. But the beautiful thing is, you can find yourself again. That's what this party is about. Not revenge. Not showing Trevor what he lost. But showing yourself who you really are when you're not trying to be someone else. My phone buzzed. Nicole. Good morning. Andre said drop-off went smoothly. How are you feeling? I typed back, awful but functional. Ready to plan this party. Good. I'm coming over in an hour with the wedding binder. We're going to go through every vendor and figure out what we can keep and what we need to cancel. True to her word, Nicole showed up exactly an hour later, armed with the binder, her laptop, and a determined expression. Okay, she said, spreading everything out on my coffee table. Let's do this systematically. First up, the venue. I called Magnolia Gardens, where the wedding was supposed to take place. The woman who answered, Christina, was the same person I'd been working with for months. Simone, she said warmly. I've been expecting your call. I heard what happened. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I know this is last minute, but I need to cancel, or actually not cancel. Change. I still want the date. I still want the venue. But it's not a wedding anymore. What is it? A celebration party. Same guest list. Same date. But different vibe. Can we do that? There was a pause. Then Christina said, absolutely. And honey? Keep your deposits. All of them. Consider it our gift. What Trevor did was cruel. You deserve this party. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you. That means more than you know. Do you still want the same setup? The garden ceremony space and the reception hall. Just the reception hall. And instead of formal seating, can we do cocktail tables? Make it more of a mingling, dancing, celebration vibe? We can absolutely do that. I'll send you revised layouts by this afternoon. One down. I moved on to the caterer. The florist was next. She'd been planning elaborate centerpieces with white roses and delicate greenery. Scrap it, I told her. I want color. Bright, vibrant color. Reds, oranges, purples, blues. Make it look like celebration and joy. I love it, she said. And Simone? Good for you for not hiding. Good for you for celebrating anyway. The photographer was thrilled to still have the booking. I'll capture a different kind of love story, she said. The love you have for yourself and your people. By lunchtime, we'd contacted every vendor. Most of them were supportive. A few were confused. One, the wedding cake designer, was downright enthusiastic. Forget the traditional white wedding cake, she said. I'm making you something spectacular. Trust me. It's going to be perfect. Nicole was typing furiously on her laptop, updating spreadsheets and timelines. Okay, we have the venue. We have food, flowers, photography, and cake. Music? The DJ already confirmed he's still in, I said. He actually laughed when I told him what happened and said he has the perfect playlist for a freedom party. What about invitations? I'll design them today. Send them out tomorrow. Digital so they arrive fast. Mom appeared with sandwiches. You girls need to eat. You've been working for 3 hours straight. We took a break. I sat on my couch eating a turkey sandwich and looked around my apartment. The boxes were gone. Andre had taken them all this morning. My space was mine again. But I needed to do more. I needed to reclaim not just my apartment but my whole life. I'm going to work tomorrow, I announced. Nicole and Mom exchanged glances. Are you sure? Nicole asked. You could take a few days. No, I'm sure. I have clients. I have projects. I have a business to run. Sitting here feeling sorry for myself isn't going to help. Moving forward will. Then we support that, Mom said. But if you need to leave early or take a break, you do it. No shame. I nodded and pulled out my laptop. Time to design these invitations. I spent the rest of the afternoon working on graphics. The invitation was simple but striking. A bright blue background with gold lettering. You're invited to celebrate new beginnings with Simone Richardson. What was meant to be a wedding is now a party honoring fresh starts, second chances, and the courage to choose yourself. Join us for music, dancing, laughter, and joy. I included the date, time, and location. Then I added at the bottom, dress code, wear something that makes you feel powerful. I sent it to Nicole and Mom for approval. It's perfect, Nicole said. Classy, clear, and empowering. Send it, Mom agreed. I pulled up the wedding guest list. 300 people. 300 people who had been planning to watch me marry Trevor. 300 people who would now watch me celebrate my freedom. My finger hovered over the send button. This was it. This was the moment where I made it real. Where I told the world that I wasn't hiding. I wasn't ashamed. I was standing tall. I pressed send. Within minutes, responses started rolling in. Most were messages of support. Some were shocked. A few asked for details. But the overwhelming response was positive. I'll be there. You're incredible. Can't wait to celebrate with you. This is the best response to a breakup I've ever seen. My cousin Rachel called. Simone, this is brilliant. You're brilliant. I'm telling everyone I know to come support you. My college roommate sent a text. Flying in from Seattle. Wouldn't miss this for the world. Even some of Trevor's co-workers responded. We always thought you were too good for him. Glad you figured it out. We'll be there. By evening, over 100 people had confirmed attendance. The party was happening. It was real. Nicole left around 7, promising to come back tomorrow to help with final details. Mom stayed for dinner and we ordered pizza and watched old episodes of a comedy show we both loved. You're doing the right thing, Mom said as she was getting ready to leave. This party, moving forward, all of it. You're handling this with more grace than most people could manage. After she left, I sat alone in my quiet apartment. My phone buzzed with more responses to the invitation. More messages of support. More people rallying around me. I thought about Trevor. Wondered what he was doing right now. If he was with Heather. If he was regretting his choice. If he was angry that I'd turned his humiliation of me into something empowering. Part of me hoped he was miserable. Part of me hoped he realized what he'd lost. But mostly, I hoped I could stop thinking about him altogether. I opened my laptop and started going through my work emails. I had 3 client consultations scheduled for this week. 2 upcoming events to coordinate. A corporate retreat to plan. My business, Simone's Special Events, was something I'd built from scratch 5 years ago. It had started small, just friends' parties and family gatherings. But I'd grown it into something successful. I had regular clients now. A reputation for creativity and reliability. I'd been planning to scale back after the wedding. Trevor had suggested I focus more on being his wife, maybe take on fewer clients. You don't need to work so hard, he'd said. I make enough for both of us. I'd been considering it. Thinking about starting a family soon, being more available, building a life that centered around our home and his career. Now, looking at my client list and my project calendar, I felt something shift inside me. I didn't want to scale back. I wanted to grow. I wanted to build my business into something even bigger. Something remarkable. I wanted to prove, to myself more than anyone, that I was capable of extraordinary things. I opened a new document and started writing. Plans for expanding my business. Ideas for marketing. Goals for the next year. Everything I'd been too afraid to pursue because it might inconvenience Trevor or take time away from our relationship. I wrote until midnight. Page after page of dreams and plans and possibilities. When I finally closed my laptop and went to bed, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not hope that Trevor would come back. Not hope that we'd work things out. Hope for myself. For my future. For the life I was going to build on my own terms. I fell asleep with a smile on my face. The morning of the party dawned bright and clear. I woke up early, nervous energy thrumming through my body. Today was the day that was supposed to be my wedding. Instead, it was going to be something entirely different. Better, I told myself. This is going to be better. Nicole arrived at 9 with her makeup artist friend, Taylor, and enough beauty supplies to stock a small salon. We're making you look absolutely stunning, Nicole announced. Not to impress anyone. Just to feel like the powerful woman you are. I'd chosen my dress carefully. Not a wedding dress, obviously. But not just any party dress either. I'd bought it 2 days ago, after spending an hour in the boutique trying on different options. It was the color of sapphires. Deep, rich blue that caught the light when I moved. It had a fitted bodice and a flowing skirt that fell just below my knees. Simple but elegant. Powerful but feminine. When I tried it on, I'd looked in the mirror and seen myself, really myself, for the first time in years. Taylor worked on my makeup while Nicole steamed the dress and organized my jewelry options. Keep it natural, I instructed Taylor. I want to look like me. Just the best version. Trust me, she said, brushing highlighter across my cheekbones. I've got you. My phone kept buzzing with messages. Last-minute RSVPs. Well wishes from friends. A few people asking if they could bring extra guests because word had spread and others wanted to support me. Yes to everyone, I told Nicole. The more the merrier. This is about community. About being surrounded by people who actually care. Andre called around 11. The restaurant just loaded up the catering van. Everything looks incredible. How are you holding up? I'm good. Surprisingly good, actually. That's my sister. I'll see you at the venue. And Simone? I'm proud of you. Those simple words made my eyes sting. I blinked rapidly, not wanting to mess up Taylor's work on my eye makeup. By 1 o'clock I was ready. I stood in front of my full-length mirror and barely recognized myself. My hair was styled in soft waves. My makeup was flawless but natural. The blue dress fit perfectly, moving with me like it was made for this moment. I looked powerful. I looked happy. I looked free. You're gorgeous, Mom said from the doorway. She'd arrived an hour ago to help with final preparations. She was wearing a vibrant red dress that complemented her skin beautifully. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you, I whispered. For everything. For being here. For supporting this crazy idea. It's not crazy. It's brave. She hugged me carefully, mindful of my dress and makeup. Now let's go show the world what Richardson women are made of. We arrived at Magnolia Gardens at 2. The venue was transformed. Where there should have been formal wedding decorations, there was an explosion of color. Bright flowers everywhere. Cocktail tables with jewel-toned linens. String lights woven through the trees in the garden. A dance floor set up in the center of the reception hall. Christina, the venue coordinator, rushed over when she saw me. Simone, it looks perfect. Come see. She walked me through the space. The bar was stocked. The food stations were being set up. The DJ was testing his equipment. Everything was coming together. The cake just arrived, Christina said. You have to see it. The cake was not what I expected. Instead of traditional tiers, it was a series of geometric shapes stacked artfully, each layer a different vibrant color. Purple, orange, pink, blue, green. It looked like abstract art. Like celebration in edible form. It's perfect, I breathed. The cake designer said to tell you that every color represents a different part of your journey forward. Purple for wisdom, orange for enthusiasm, pink for new love, you'll find blue for peace, green for growth. I felt tears threatening again. These people, these vendors who barely knew me, were pouring so much care into this event. Guests started arriving at 3. First a trickle, then a steady stream, then a flood. My apartment couldn't hold this many people, I thought. But the venue could, and it was filling up fast. Everyone had taken the dress code seriously. The room was a sea of vibrant colors. Red dresses and green suits and purple ties and bright yellow shoes. People looked joyful, like they'd been given permission to be their most colorful selves. My college friends arrived together, wearing matching bright orange dresses. We coordinated, they explained, hugging me. Team Simone. Coworkers came. Clients came. Extended family came. People I'd worked with years ago came. The room filled with laughter and conversation and music. And then at 4:30 someone I didn't expect walked through the door. Trevor. He wasn't alone. Heather was with him, looking uncomfortable in a plain black dress that violated the dress code. They stood in the entrance, clearly not knowing what to do. The room went quiet. People stopped talking mid-sentence. The DJ even lowered the music slightly. I was standing near the cake talking to my aunt when I saw them. My heart dropped into my stomach. He'd actually shown up. To my celebration. The celebration of not marrying him. Nicole appeared at my elbow immediately. Do you want me to have them removed? No, I said quietly. Let me handle this. I walked across the room toward them. Every eye followed me. The silence was thick enough to cut. Trevor looked awful. His suit was rumpled. He had dark circles under his eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Good. Simone, he started. I need to talk to you. To explain. No, I said simply. My voice was calm. Steady. You don't get to do this. Not here. Not today. Please. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. He glanced at Heather, who was staring at the floor. This, he gestured between himself and her, it's not what I thought it would be. You were right. About everything. I know I was. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. But that's not my problem anymore. Simone, I love you. I want you back. We can work this out. We can postpone the wedding, go to counseling, figure this out together. The audacity. The sheer audacity of this man. I looked at him for a long moment. This person I'd spent 4 years with. This person I'd loved and trusted and built a life around. This person who'd thrown it all away and was now trying to crawl back because his new situation wasn't working out. No, I said clearly, loud enough for the people nearby to hear. You don't love me, Trevor. You love the idea of me. You love having someone stable and reliable to come back to when your exciting adventures don't work out. But I'm done being your safe backup plan. That's not fair. Fair? I almost laughed. You want to talk about fair? You cheated on me for 6 months. You called off our wedding 3 weeks before the date. In public. In front of your friends. You humiliated me because it was easier than being honest. And now you show up at my celebration with her, I nodded toward Heather, and expect me to just take you back? I made a mistake. Yes, you did. And you have to live with that. But I don't. I don't have to live with your mistake or your regret or your sudden realization that you threw away something good. I get to move forward. I get to build a life with people who actually value me. Heather spoke up for the first time. Simone, I'm sorry. I didn't know about you at first, and when I found out, I should have walked away. Stop. I held up my hand. I don't want your apology. I don't want your explanation. I don't want anything from either of you except for you to leave. This party is for people who care about me. You two don't qualify. Andre had materialized behind me along with 2 of my male cousins. They didn't say anything, just stood there. A wall of support. Trevor looked at them, then back at me. Simone, please. Leave. No. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my apartment or my office. We're done. Completely done. Do you understand? He looked like he wanted to argue. But something in my expression, or maybe the crowd of people watching, or maybe the presence of my brother and cousins, made him stop. I'm sorry, he said quietly. For all of it. I'm not, I replied. I gestured around the room at the party, at my friends and family, at the life I was building. This is better than anything I would have had with you. Trevor and Heather left. The door closed behind them. The room stayed silent for another few seconds. Then someone started clapping. My mom. Then Nicole joined. Then Andre. Then everyone in the room erupted in applause. People were cheering. Actually cheering. For me. For standing up for myself. For choosing myself. The DJ cranked the music back up. Someone handed me a glass of champagne. The party resumed, even louder and more joyful than before. That, Nicole said in my ear, was the most badass thing I've ever seen. I laughed. Actually laughed. I can't believe he showed up. I can't. Men like Trevor always come crawling back when they realize what they lost. But you shut him down perfectly. The rest of the evening was magical. We danced. We ate incredible food. We took hundreds of photos. People gave impromptu speeches about resilience and new beginnings and the power of choosing yourself. My college roommate stood on a chair and declared, "Here's to Simone, who taught us all that the best revenge is living well and looking stunning while doing it." Everyone drank to that. When they brought out the cake, the whole room sang. Not a wedding song, but "I Will Survive." Someone had requested it, and the DJ had cued it perfectly. 300 people singing about surviving and thriving, while I cut into that gorgeous, colorful cake. I found myself on the dance floor at one point, surrounded by my favorite people, moving to music that made my whole body feel alive. I was sweaty. My feet hurt in my heels. My face hurt from smiling. And I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy. Around 10, as the party was winding down, I stood on the outdoor patio with Nicole, looking back through the windows at the celebration still going inside. You did it, Nicole said. You turned what should have been the worst day of your life into something beautiful. We did it, I corrected. I couldn't have done this without you. Without my family. Without everyone who showed up today. They showed up because you're worth showing up for. Don't forget that. I thought about Trevor's face when I'd rejected him. The shock. The realization that I meant it. That I wasn't going to change my mind or give him another chance. Did I still love him? Maybe. You don't just stop loving someone overnight. But I loved myself more. And that was new. That was the real victory of today. What's next? Nicole asked. Next, I focus on my business. I grow it into something amazing. I travel. I live my life exactly the way I want to live it. And I stop making myself smaller for someone else's comfort. That sounds perfect. We stayed out there a while longer, watching the stars and listening to the music drift out from inside. Tomorrow, I'd have to deal with reality again. With the logistics of fully canceling wedding vendor contracts. With returning gifts. With rebuilding my life piece by piece. But tonight, I just celebrated. Tonight, I let myself feel victorious. Because I was. 2 months after the party, my life looked completely different. I sat in my office, a real office now, not just my apartment, reviewing contracts for 3 new corporate clients. The walls were painted a soft cream color, with bright artwork that made the space feel energetic and professional. My desk faced the window, giving me a view of the city skyline. Simone's special events had grown exponentially since the party. Word had spread about what I'd done, how I'd handled the situation, and suddenly everyone wanted to work with me. News outlets had called asking for interviews. The woman who turned her broken engagement into a business opportunity. I declined most of them, only accepting one local magazine feature that focused on my business rather than my personal life. But the publicity had worked. My client list had tripled. I'd hired 2 assistants to help manage the workload. And this morning, I just finished a call with one of the biggest companies in the city. My phone buzzed. Nicole calling. Hey, I answered. What's up? Did you sign the Grayson contract yet? Mr. Grayson was the CEO of a major tech company who wanted me to handle all their corporate events for the next year. The contract was worth more than I'd made in the previous 3 years combined. Just reviewed the final version. Signing it this afternoon. Simone, do you realize what this means? You're not just succeeding. You're thriving. You're building an empire. I smiled. I wouldn't call it an empire. But yeah, things are good. Really good. Because you're focusing on yourself and your dreams instead of making yourself smaller for someone else. She was right. The past 2 months had been transformative. I'd thrown myself into work, but it didn't feel like drowning. It felt like flying. Every morning, I woke up excited about the day ahead. Every night, I went to bed satisfied with what I'd accomplished. I'd also moved into a new apartment. Bigger than my old one in a better neighborhood. Floor-to-ceiling windows in the living room. A gourmet kitchen I actually had time to use now. A spare bedroom I'd converted into a home office. The walls were painted in colors I loved. Teal in the bedroom. Sunny yellow in the kitchen. Soft green in the living room. Every room felt like me. My taste. My style. No compromises. Are we still on for dinner tonight? Nicole asked. Absolutely. 7 o'clock. Perfect. I have news. After we hung up, I turned back to my computer. The Grayson contract was pulled up on my screen. I read through it one more time, making sure every detail was correct. This was huge. This was career-defining. I picked up my pen and signed. My assistant, Kennedy, knocked on my door. Simone? Your 3 o'clock is here. The couple wanting to plan their anniversary party. Send them in. Work consumed the rest of the afternoon. By 6:30, I was packing up my things and getting ready to head to dinner with Nicole. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, assuming it was spam. But something made me open it. Simone, it's Trevor. I know you blocked my number. I got a new phone. Please don't block this one. I need to talk to you. It's important. I stared at the message for a long moment. Part of me wanted to respond. To tell him off again. To make it clear one more time that we were done. But I didn't. I just blocked the new number and deleted the message. He didn't deserve my energy. Not even the energy it would take to tell him no again. I met Nicole at Marcello's, a trendy Italian restaurant downtown. She was already seated when I arrived, wearing a gorgeous green dress and a smile that suggested good news. Okay, spill, I said, sliding into the booth across from her. What's your news? I made partner. Nicole's eyes sparkled. They announced it this morning. Youngest partner in the firm's history. Nicole? I reached across the table and grabbed her hands. That's incredible. I'm so proud of you. And you're my first celebration. Because you helped me realize something these past few months. What? Watching you stand up for yourself, watching you refuse to settle, watching you build this amazing life. It made me realize I'd been doing the same thing you were. Making myself smaller. Not pushing for what I deserved because I didn't want to seem difficult or demanding. She squeezed my hands. So I went into that partner review meeting and I laid out exactly why I deserved it. No apologies. No hedging. Just confidence. And they said yes. I can't take credit for your success. You can take credit for inspiring me. Sometimes we need to see someone else be brave before we can be brave ourselves. We ordered wine and pasta and spent the next 2 hours talking and laughing. Nicole told me about her new corner office and increased salary. I told her about the Grayson contract and my plans to expand the business even more. Have you heard anything about Trevor lately? She asked carefully. I shook my head. Nothing. And I don't want to. Whatever he's doing, whoever he's with, it's not my concern anymore. Good. Because from what I heard through the grapevine, things aren't going well for him. Heather is apparently very demanding. His friends have distanced themselves. People at his office know what happened and look at him differently. I don't wish him misery, I said honestly. But I don't wish him happiness either. I just wish him gone. Out of my mind. Completely irrelevant to my life. Is he? I thought about it. Getting there. Some days I don't think about him at all. Other days something reminds me and I feel angry all over again. But it's getting easier. That's normal. Healing isn't linear. After dinner we walked around downtown, looking in shop windows and enjoying the cool evening air. I felt content. At peace. Like my life was exactly where it was supposed to be. Are you dating yet? Nicole asked. No. I'm not ready. Maybe in a few months. But right now I'm enjoying being on my own. Learning who I am when I'm not part of a couple. That's healthy. When you're ready you'll know. We said goodbye around 10. I drove home to my new apartment, walked into my bright, beautiful space and felt grateful. Grateful for Nicole's friendship. Grateful for the opportunities coming my way. Grateful for the strength I'd found in myself. I made tea and sat on my couch looking out at the city lights. My laptop was nearby and I pulled it open to check emails before bed. There was one from Mr. Grayson. Subject line, exciting opportunity. I opened it. Ms. Richardson, I was so impressed with our meeting today that I wanted to reach out immediately. In addition to our corporate events, I'm planning a large charity gala in 6 months. It's a pet project of mine, raising money for underprivileged youth programs. I'd love for you to plan it. This would be a high-profile event with significant media coverage. Interested? I sat back processing this. A charity gala. High profile. Media coverage. This was exactly the kind of project that could take my business to the next level. The kind of event that would establish me as a top-tier planner, not just locally but potentially nationally. I typed back immediately, Mr. Grayson, I would be honored. Let's schedule a time to discuss details. I hit send and then let out a long breath. My life was changing. Every day it was changing. Getting bigger. Getting better. Getting closer to what I'd always dreamed it could be. I thought about where I'd been 2 months ago. Sitting in that restaurant, listening to Trevor destroy everything we'd built. I'd felt so small in that moment. So powerless. Now I felt the opposite. I felt capable of anything. My phone buzzed. A message from Andre. Hey sis, just checking in. How are you? I smiled and typed back. I'm great. Really truly great. Because I was. And that felt like the biggest victory of all. Trevor sat in his apartment, staring at his phone. Simone had blocked his new number. Of course she had. He'd lost count of how many times he'd tried to reach her over the past 2 months. Calls, texts, emails, even showing up at her old apartment before he realized she'd moved. Every attempt met with silence or rejection. Are you coming to bed? Heather called from the bedroom. Trevor didn't respond. Heather. The woman he'd left Simone for. The woman who'd seemed so exciting and adventurous when they'd first met at that conference. The woman who was nothing like what he'd expected. Living with Heather was exhausting. She was demanding, critical, and constantly wanted his attention. She complained about his apartment, his friends, his habits. Nothing was ever good enough. She wanted to go out every night, couldn't cook, spend money like it was water. She wasn't Simone. Simone, who'd been low maintenance and supportive and genuinely interested in his life. Simone, who'd made their relationship easy, comfortable, safe. He'd thrown it all away because he'd been stupid enough to believe that excitement was more important than stability. That passion was more important than partnership. Trevor. Heather appeared in the doorway wearing one of his shirts. Did you hear me? Yeah. I heard you. He set his phone down. I'll be there in a minute. She huffed and disappeared back into the bedroom. Trevor's friends had stopped calling. Brad had actually told him, flat out, that what he'd done to Simone was unforgivable. Kyle had just stopped responding to messages. The guys from work who used to grab drinks with him had suddenly become too busy. Even his mom had called to say she was disappointed in him. His own mother. Simone was good for you, she'd said. She made you better. And you destroyed her in public. For what? For someone you barely know. For someone who was making his life miserable, actually. He'd seen the magazine article about Simone. The one that featured her business and her success. She looked radiant in the photos. Happy. Glowing. Completely fine without him. While he was drowning. He tried to explain to his boss what had happened when people at work started treating him differently. But his boss had just looked at him with disapproval and said, "Personal conduct reflects on this company, Trevor. Think about that." His career hadn't suffered, exactly, but opportunities that might have come his way seemed to be going to other people now. Promotions he'd expected didn't materialize. Projects he wanted went to colleagues. He was being quietly pushed aside. All because of one monumentally stupid decision. Trevor, are you coming or not? Heather's voice was sharp with irritation. He stood up and walked to the bedroom. Heather was scrolling through her phone, barely looking at him when he entered. I need to talk to you, he said. About what? About us. About this. He gestured between them. It's not working, Heather. She looked up, her expression hardening. Excuse me? This relationship. It's not what I thought it would be. We're not compatible. We want different things. Are you seriously breaking up with me right now? I think we should both admit this was a mistake. We got caught up in the excitement of something new, but in reality we don't work together. Heather stood up, her face flushing with anger. You left your fiancée for me. You humiliated her in front of everyone. And now you're saying it was a mistake. Yes, it was. A huge mistake. You're pathetic. She started throwing on clothes. You know what your problem is, Trevor? You don't know what you want. You had a good woman who loved you and you threw her away. For what? Because you were bored? Because you wanted something exciting? I know I made a mistake. And now you want to go back to her. That's what this is really about, isn't it? You want your safe, comfortable Simone back. Heather grabbed her purse. Well, guess what? She's moved on. She's happy. And she doesn't want you. I know that. Do you? Because you keep trying to contact her. You're obsessed with her. You have been this whole time. Heather headed for the door. I'm done. I'm not going to be your consolation prize while you pine after your ex. She slammed the door on her way out. Trevor sat down on the bed, running his hands through his hair. The apartment was silent now. Empty. Just like his life felt. He'd lost Simone. He'd lost Heather. He'd lost his friends. He'd lost his reputation. He'd lost everything that mattered. And for what? He picked up his phone again and scrolled through social media. There was a new post from someone who'd been at Simone's party. A photo of her laughing, surrounded by friends, wearing that stunning blue dress. The caption read, "This is what choosing yourself looks like. Thanks for inspiring us all, Simone." She looked so happy, so free, so completely over him. Trevor felt something twist in his chest. Regret. Deep, painful regret. He'd had something real. Something valuable. Something he'd never appreciated until it was gone. And now it was too late. He tried one more time to call her, knowing she wouldn't answer. The call went straight to voicemail. He'd been blocked again. Simone, he said after the beep, I know you won't hear this. I know you've moved on. But I need to say it anyway. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For everything. For hurting you. For humiliating you. For being too stupid to realize what I had until I lost it. You deserved better. You deserved someone who saw your value and never made you question it. I hope you find that. I hope you find everything you're looking for. And I hope someday you can forgive me even if you never want to see me again. He hung up and sat in the silence of his empty apartment. Simone was out there somewhere building an incredible life. Moving forward. Succeeding. Thriving. And he was here. Alone. Drowning in regret for choices he could never take back. This was his consequence. This was what he deserved. But that didn't make it hurt any less. The Emirates flight touched down in Dubai just as the sun was rising over the city. I pressed my face to the window, watching the skyline emerge from the morning haze. Gleaming towers. Palm-shaped islands. A city that felt like the future. I was here for work. Mr. Grayson's company had an international office in Dubai, and they were hosting a major conference. He'd asked me to fly out to manage the event, calling it a test run before the charity gala. I'd said yes immediately. Now, stepping into the Dubai airport with my luggage and my event planning materials, I felt like I was stepping into a new version of my life. The version where I traveled internationally for work. The version where I was confident and capable and entirely self-sufficient. The hotel was stunning. A 5-star resort on the waterfront with views of the Persian Gulf. My room was bigger than my first apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a balcony overlooking the water. I dropped my bags and walked out onto that balcony, breathing in the warm air. This was real. I was really here. Living a life I'd only dreamed about before. My phone buzzed. Nicole had texted, "How's Dubai?" I sent back a photo of the view. Incredible. I think I could get used to this. You deserve all of it. Kill it at that conference. The conference itself was a 3-day event for tech industry leaders from across the Middle East and Asia. My job was to coordinate everything from registration to meals to breakout sessions to the closing gala. It was intensive work, but I loved every minute of it. On the second evening, after a long day of managing logistics, I found myself at the hotel bar. I'd ordered a mocktail and was reviewing my notes for the next day when someone sat down next to me. "You're Simone Richardson, aren't you?" The voice was warm with a slight British accent. I looked up. The man was tall, with dark skin, kind eyes, and a smile that seemed genuine. He was wearing a well-tailored suit in a deep maroon color. I said cautiously. "Jordan Mitchell. I'm speaking at the conference tomorrow. On sustainable technology initiatives." He extended his hand. "Mr. Grayson mentioned you were the brilliant mind behind this whole operation." I shook his hand. "I don't know about brilliant, but I try. From what I've seen, you're being modest. This conference is running flawlessly. That doesn't happen by accident." We talked for a while. Jordan was easy to talk to, asking thoughtful questions about my work and sharing stories about his own career in renewable energy. He made me laugh, made me feel interesting and smart. At no point did I feel like he was hitting on me. It just felt like two professionals having a pleasant conversation. "What brings you to Dubai besides the conference?" he asked. "Just work. But I'm hoping to see some of the city while I'm here. Maybe visit the Burj Khalifa or the Gold Souk." "You should definitely do both. Dubai is remarkable. I come here often for work and I'm still discovering new things." We talked until the bar started closing. When we finally said goodnight, Jordan handed me his business card. "If you ever need a contact in the sustainable tech world, or just want to grab coffee next time you're in London, feel free to reach out." I looked at the card. No pressure. No expectation. Just a friendly offer. "Thank you," I said. "I might take you up on that." The next day, Jordan's presentation was one of the highlights of the conference. He spoke about using technology to address climate change, and his passion was evident in every word. The audience was captivated. Afterwards, he found me in the hallway outside the main conference room. "How did I do?" he asked with a grin. "You were incredible. The audience loved it." "Good. Because I was nervous as hell." He looked at his watch. "Listen, I'm flying out tonight, but I wanted to say thank you. This conference was top-notch, and that's because of you. Just doing my job. You're good at your job." He paused. "And I meant what I said yesterday. If you're ever in London, let me know. I'd love to show you around." There was something in his eyes. Not pushy or aggressive, but interested. Genuinely interested. "I'll keep that in mind," I said. And I meant it. After Jordan left, I threw myself into managing the final day of the conference. The closing gala that evening was the culmination of everything, and I wanted it to be perfect. It was. From the decorations to the food to the entertainment to the closing remarks, everything flowed seamlessly. Attendees came up to me throughout the night to compliment the event. Mr. Grayson himself pulled me aside. "Simone, you've exceeded every expectation. This was phenomenal." He smiled. "When we get back to the States, let's start serious planning on the charity gala. I want you to have complete creative control." "Thank you. That means everything." I flew home 2 days later, exhausted but exhilarated. I'd done it. I'd managed an international conference successfully. I'd proven to myself that I was capable of big, important, challenging work. Nicole picked me up from the airport. "You're glowing," she said. "Dubai looks good on you." Dubai was amazing. "I feel like I've leveled up professionally." "Tell me everything." Over the drive home, I filled her in on the conference details. When I got to the part about Jordan, Nicole's eyebrows rose. "And, is this guy someone you're interested in?" "I don't know. Maybe. He was nice. Easy to talk to. But I'm not looking for anything right now. I'm not saying you should marry him. I'm just saying it's okay to be open to possibilities. To let someone be interested in you without immediately shutting it down." "I'm not shutting it down. I'm just being cautious." "Fair enough." Back at my apartment, I unpacked and caught up on emails. There were dozens. Client inquiries. Questions from my assistants. Industry colleagues reaching out about future collaborations. And one email that made me pause. From Trevor's mother. "Dear Simone, I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to reach out personally to apologize for my son's behavior. What he did was inexcusable and I want you to know that I told him so. You were always wonderful to our family, and we miss having you in our lives. I understand if you don't wish to respond. I just wanted you to know that you're thought of fondly. Best wishes, Catherine Hayes." I stared at that email for a long time. Trevor's mom had always been kind to me. I'd liked her. But she was his mother, and responding felt like opening a door I'd worked hard to close. I typed back a simple response. "Thank you for your kind words, Catherine. I appreciate your reaching out. I wish you and your family well. Take care, Simone." Short, polite, final. I hit send and closed my laptop. The past was the past. I'd moved forward. And I was going to keep moving forward. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, assuming it was Trevor with yet another new phone. But something made me check. Hi Simone, this is Jordan Mitchell. I got your number from the conference registration. Hope that's not too forward. Just wanted to say again how impressive your work was in Dubai. If you're ever interested in planning events in London, I have connections. Also, if you just want to chat about the industry or anything else, I'm available. No pressure. Jordan. I smiled. No pressure. That's what he'd said. And he seemed to mean it. I typed back, hi Jordan. Not too forward at all. Thanks again for your kind words about the conference. I might take you up on those London connections someday. And chatting sounds nice. Hope your flight home was smooth. Simple. Friendly. Open but not committal. His response came a few minutes later. Flight was good, though I missed the Dubai sunshine already. Let me know when you have time for that chat. I promise I'm more interesting than I sound over text. I found myself laughing. Maybe Nicole was right. Maybe it was okay to be open to possibilities. I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I was focused on my career, on building my business, on becoming the best version of myself. But maybe someday when I was ready there could be room for something more. For now, though, I was content exactly where I was. Successful. Independent. Happy. And that was more than enough. 3 months after Dubai, my business was busier than ever. The charity gala planning was in full swing. I'd taken on 2 more assistants and was seriously considering opening a second office to handle the overflow of clients. I was at that second potential office location, walking through the empty space with a real estate agent, when my phone rang. Kennedy, my lead assistant. Simone, we have a situation. My stomach dropped. In event planning, situation could mean anything from a vendor cancellation to a complete disaster. What kind of situation? Trevor is here. At the office. He showed up about 10 minutes ago and refuses to leave until he talks to you. I closed my eyes. Of course. Of course Trevor would do this. Call building security. I did. They're on their way. But I wanted to warn you in case you were heading back. Thank you. I'm about 20 minutes out. Keep him in the waiting area. Don't let him into my private office. I apologized to the real estate agent and cut our meeting short. On the drive back to my office, I tried to prepare myself. I hadn't seen Trevor since the party 6 months ago. I'd successfully avoided every attempt he'd made to contact me. But apparently he'd decided that showing up in person was his next move. I pulled into the parking garage and took a moment to collect myself. I was wearing a bright green dress today, one that made me feel powerful and put together. My hair was styled. My makeup was perfect. I looked successful. I looked happy. Good. Let him see what he'd thrown away. I rode the elevator up to my office floor. Through the glass doors, I could see Trevor sitting in the waiting area. He looked worse than he had at the party. Thinner. More haggard. Like the past few months had been very unkind to him. 2 security guards were standing nearby watching him. I walked in. Trevor stood up immediately. Simone. Thank God. I need to talk to you. No, I said calmly. You need to leave. This is my place of business. You're disrupting my work day. Please. Just 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Kennedy had come out of her office. She looked at me, clearly ready to back me up however I needed. Fine, I said. 10 minutes. In the conference room. With the door open. I wasn't going to be alone with him. Whatever he had to say, it could be said in semi-public view. We walked into the conference room. I sat on one side of the table. Trevor sat on the other. Kennedy hovered near the doorway, pretending to organize files but clearly listening. Talk, I said. Your 10 minutes starts now. I made a mistake. Trevor leaned forward. The biggest mistake of my life. I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm here to ask for another chance. No. Simone, please. Just hear me out. I'm hearing you out. And my answer is no. I'm not interested in rekindling anything with you. I've moved on. But I haven't. I can't. Every day I wake up regretting what I did. Every day I think about you and how good we were together. We weren't good together, Trevor. Or you wouldn't have cheated on me for 6 months. That was a mistake. Heather was a mistake. I got caught up in something that didn't mean anything. It meant enough for you to call off our wedding. In public. In the cruelest way possible. I know. I know I hurt you. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man who I'd loved for 4 years. This man who'd broken my heart. This man who was now sitting across from me, begging for another chance. And I felt nothing. No anger. No love. No longing. Just a vague sense of pity mixed with relief that I'd escaped this relationship. Trevor, I'm going to say this once clearly so there's no misunderstanding. I don't want to get back together. I don't want to try again. I don't want to be friends. I don't want any relationship with you whatsoever. But let me finish. What you did showed me who you really are. Someone who was willing to humiliate me publicly rather than be honest with me privately. Someone who made me feel like I wasn't enough, like I needed to change to be worthy of your love. Someone who thought so little of me that you believed I'd just accept whatever scraps of affection you decided to throw my way. That's not fair. It's completely fair. And it's the truth. I stood up. I spent 4 years of my life with you. I made compromises. I adjusted my dreams. I made myself smaller to fit into your life. And the whole time I wasn't enough for you. Well, I'm done with that. I'm done making myself smaller. I'm done compromising. I'm done settling. I'm not asking you to settle. I'm asking you to give us another chance. And I'm telling you no. I've built an incredible life over the past 6 months. My business is thriving. I'm happy. I'm successful. I'm surrounded by people who value me. Why would I give that up to go back to someone who threw me away? Trevor's face crumpled. Because I love you. I still love you. You love the idea of me. You love having someone stable to come home to. You love the comfort and reliability I provided. But that's not love, Trevor. That's convenience. That's not true. Your 10 minutes are up. I walk toward the door. Kennedy will show you out. If you come back to this office again, I'll have security remove you permanently. If you contact me again, I'll get a restraining order. We're done. Completely, permanently done. Do you understand? He stood up, looking desperate. Simone, please. Goodbye, Trevor. I walked out of the conference room and into my private office, closing the door behind me. My hands were shaking slightly, adrenaline coursing through my system. But I'd done it. I'd stood my ground. I'd said everything I needed to say. Through my office window, I watched as Kennedy and the security guards escorted Trevor out. He looked back once like he was hoping I'd come running after him. I didn't move. The elevator doors closed on him and he was gone. Kennedy knocked on my door a moment later. Are you okay? She asked. I'm perfect. Actually perfect. And I meant it. Did he give you any trouble leaving? No. He just looked sad and defeated. But Simone? You were incredible. The way you stood up to him, the way you didn't back down or give him false hope. That was powerful. Thank you. And thank you for handling the situation before I got here. Of course. That's what I'm here for. After Kennedy left, I sat at my desk and took a few deep breaths. My phone buzzed. A text from Jordan. Just thinking about you. How's your day going? Over the past few months, Jordan and I had been texting regularly. Nothing serious or romantic. Just friendly conversations about work, life, travel. He'd sent me photos from his latest project in Kenya. I'd sent him updates on the charity gala planning. It was easy. Comfortable. No pressure. I typed back, had to deal with an unexpected situation but I handled it. Feeling good now. Want to talk about it? I'm free if you need to vent. Actually, I'd love that. Can I call you? Absolutely. I called him and for the next half hour I told him about Trevor showing up. About rejecting him. About standing my ground. Jordan listened without interrupting. When I finished he said, you did exactly the right thing. That took real strength. I don't feel strong. I feel kind of shaky. That's normal. Confrontation does that even when you handle it perfectly. But Simone, you should be proud of yourself. A lot of people would have wavered. You didn't. Thank you. For listening. For understanding. Anytime. That's what friends are for. Friends. That's what we were. Friends. But sitting there, talking to Jordan, feeling understood and supported, I realized something. I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't afraid of getting hurt again. I wasn't afraid of trusting someone. I wasn't afraid of being open to possibilities. Not right now. I wasn't ready for anything serious right now. But someday maybe I would be. And when that day came I'd be ready. Really ready. Not because I needed someone to complete me but because I was already complete on my own. Any relationship I chose to enter would be an addition to my already full life, not a requirement for my happiness. Jordan, I said. Thank you. For being you. Thank you for being you. The real you. The strong, successful, incredible you. After we hung up, I looked around my office. At the walls covered with photos from events I'd planned. At the awards I'd won. At the vision board I'd created for my business goals. 6 months ago, I'd been sitting in a restaurant having my heart broken in public. Now I was here, living a life I was proud of, surrounded by people who valued me, building something meaningful. Trevor had done me a favor. He'd forced me to see that I was settling, that I deserved better, that I was capable of more. I didn't need him. I never really had. I needed myself. And I'd finally found her. The charity gala was exactly 1 week away. I'd been working 16-hour days for the past month, coordinating every detail. This was the biggest event of my career and it had to be perfect. Tonight was the venue final walkthrough. I stood in the grand ballroom of the Riverside Hotel, the same building as Riverside Bistro where Trevor had broken my engagement. The irony wasn't lost on me. In fact, I'd chosen this venue partly because of it. Taking back a space that held painful memories and filling it with something beautiful. Mr. Grayson was there, along with his wife and several board members from the charity we were supporting. They walked through the space as I explained the setup. Tables here, with centerpieces featuring these tall arrangements in blue and purple. The stage will be here for speakers. The silent auction items will line this wall. The bar will be positioned here and here. The photo booth will be in this alcove. And the live auction will take place after dinner. It's going to be spectacular, Mrs. Grayson said. You've thought of everything. That's my job. I smiled. Making sure every detail is perfect so you can enjoy the evening. We were wrapping up the walkthrough when I heard a familiar voice behind me. Simone. I turned. Trevor. Of course. Because apparently he couldn't take a hint. But he wasn't alone. Heather was with him, looking miserable in a black dress. They both looked uncomfortable, like they'd rather be anywhere else. What are you doing here? I asked, keeping my voice level. I saw on social media that you're planning the Grayson Foundation Gala. I bought tickets. We both did. Trevor gestured between himself and Heather. I wanted to support the cause. And to see me, I said flatly. Let's be honest. And to see you, he admitted. Simone, I know I've apologized before, but I need you to understand how sorry I am. How much I regret everything. Mr. Grayson had noticed the interaction. He walked over, his expression guarded. Is everything all right, Simone? Everything's fine. Trevor was just leaving. Actually, Trevor said, addressing Mr. Grayson, I'm not leaving. I bought tickets to the gala. I have every right to be here. The gala is next week, I said. Tonight is a private walkthrough for event staff and board members only. You need to leave. I want to talk to you. And I don't want to talk to you. I've made that clear multiple times. I looked at Mr. Grayson. This is my ex-fiancé. The one who called off our wedding in a very public, very cruel way. He's been trying to contact me for months, and I've repeatedly asked him to stop. Mr. Grayson's expression hardened. Then I think you should leave, Mr. Hayes. Trevor Hayes. Mr. Hayes, this is a private event tonight. And if you've been harassing Ms. Richardson, you're not welcome at the gala either. I'll have my assistant refund your tickets. Trevor's face went pale. You can't do that. I paid for those tickets. I absolutely can do that. This is my foundation's event, and I decide who attends. You're not welcome. Mr. Grayson turned to security who had appeared at the doorway. Please escort Mr. Hayes and his companion out. This is ridiculous, Trevor said, but his voice had lost its confidence. Simone, please. Just talk to me. 5 minutes. No. I've said no dozens of times. What part of that don't you understand? Heather spoke up for the first time. Trevor, let's just go. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing? Trevor turned to her. You think this is embarrassing? I'm trying to fix the biggest mistake of my life. By stalking your ex at her workplace? Heather shook her head. You're obsessed with her. You've been obsessed this whole time. I'm done. She walked toward the exit. Trevor looked between her departing figure and me, clearly torn. Choose, I said quietly. Go after her or keep standing here making a scene. But either way, you're not talking to me tonight. Or any night. Security stepped forward. Sir, we need you to leave now. Trevor looked at me one more time. I saw calculation in his eyes. He was weighing his options. Trying to figure out if there was any move he could make that would change my mind. There wasn't. Fine, he said finally. I'm leaving. But Simone, this isn't over. Yes, it is. I kept my voice firm. If you contact me again, if you show up at my office or any event I'm working, I'll file for a restraining order. I mean that, Trevor. Leave me alone. He left, finally following security out. Heather had already disappeared. The ballroom was silent. Mr. Grayson, his wife, and the board members were all staring at me. I apologize for that disruption, I said, smoothing my green dress. That was unprofessional. That was not your fault, Mrs. Grayson said firmly. That man is clearly unstable. Are you all right? I'm fine. Honestly. This has been going on for months. He can't seem to accept that we're not getting back together. Have you considered getting that restraining order? Mr. Grayson asked. I have. I think after tonight I will. I've been trying to handle it quietly, but he's not getting the message. Do it, Mr. Grayson said. And if you need any legal support, our company has excellent lawyers. I'll have them contact you. Thank you. That's very kind. We finished the walkthrough. After everyone left, I sat alone in the ballroom for a moment. My hands were shaking slightly. The confrontation had rattled me more than I wanted to admit. My phone buzzed. Jordan. How's the walkthrough going? I typed back. Long story. Can I call you? Of course. I called him and explained what had happened. The words poured out of me. The confrontation. Trevor's refusal to back down. The public scene in front of my biggest client. That's harassment, Jordan said firmly. You need to file that restraining order. Tonight. I know. I'm going to. Good. And Simone? You handled that perfectly. You stood your ground. You didn't engage. You protected yourself and your professional reputation. I'm proud of you. Those words made my eyes sting. Thank you. I needed to hear that. It's the truth. This guy is clearly not stable. He needs to be legally compelled to stay away from you. Yeah, he does. We talked for another 30 minutes. Jordan's calm, supportive voice helped settle my nerves. By the time we hung up, I felt more centered. I called Nicole next. She answered immediately. What's wrong? I can hear it in your voice. I explained everything. Nicole's response was immediate and fierce. I'm drawing up the restraining order paperwork tonight. We're filing first thing tomorrow morning. This has gone on long enough. Thank you. Don't thank me. You should have done this months ago. He's escalating, Simone. Showing up at your office, now at your events. That's stalking behavior. I know. I just kept thinking he'd eventually give up and go away. Men like Trevor don't give up. They get more desperate. We're shutting this down. Legally. Permanently. True to her word, Nicole had paperwork ready by the next morning. We filed for the restraining order, citing multiple instances of unwanted contact, refusal to respect boundaries, and the previous night's incident. The judge granted it immediately. Ms. Richardson, the judge said, this order prevents Mr. Hayes from contacting you in any way, approaching you, or coming within 500 feet of your home or place of business. If he violates this order, he will be arrested. Do you have any questions? No, Your Honor. Thank you. Trevor was served with the restraining order that afternoon. Nicole called me with the update. It's done. He's been officially notified. If he comes near you again, you call the police immediately. I will. Thank you, Nicole. For everything. That's what best friends are for. Now focus on your gala. Make it amazing. Show the world what you're capable of. That's exactly what I intended to do. The night of the gala arrived in a blur of final preparations and excited energy. I stood in the ballroom 3 hours before guests were scheduled to arrive, watching my team put the finishing touches on everything. The space looked magical. Deep blue uplighting washed the walls. Centerpieces of purple and blue flowers sat on every table. The silent auction items were arranged beautifully along one wall. The stage was set for speakers and the live auction. The bars were stocked. The photo booth was ready. Everything was perfect. Kennedy handed me a schedule. We're on track. Caterers are here. DJ is setting up. Photographer arrived 20 minutes ago. Speakers have all confirmed. You did it, Simone. This is going to be incredible. I took a deep breath. Let's hope so. It will be. You've planned every detail. Trust your work. I went home to change, transforming from work mode into gala mode. The dress I'd chosen was stunning. A deep red color that made my skin glow, with a fitted bodice and a flowing skirt that hit just below my knees. I'd had it custom made specifically for tonight. I wanted to look confident, successful, and completely unbothered by anything Trevor related. Nicole arrived to help with hair and makeup. She was attending the gala too, wearing an elegant blue dress that complemented mine perfectly. You look like success personified, she said, finishing my makeup. Trevor is going to die when he sees photos from tonight. Trevor has a restraining order. He's not going to be anywhere near tonight. Even better. Tonight is about you and your incredible talent. Nothing else. We arrived at the venue an hour before guests. I did a final walkthrough, checking every detail one more time. The food was perfect. The auction items were arranged properly. The program was printed and placed on each chair. The lighting was exactly right. Guests started arriving at 7. Within 30 minutes, the ballroom was filling with elegantly dressed people, all excited to support the cause. Mr. and Mrs. Grayson greeted everyone personally, and when I walked past, Mr. Grayson pulled me aside. "Simone, this is beyond anything I imagined. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for trusting me with this." The evening flowed seamlessly. Cocktail hour with the silent auction. Dinner with speeches about the charity's mission. The live auction, which raised far more money than projected. Dancing and celebration. I moved through the crowd, ensuring everything was running smoothly, accepting compliments from attendees, coordinating with my team. I felt alive. Energized. This was what I was meant to do. Around 10 o'clock, I finally allowed myself a moment to breathe. I stood at the edge of the dance floor watching people enjoy themselves, and felt a profound sense of accomplishment. "Quite a night," a voice said beside me. "Jordan." I turned, surprised. "What are you doing here?" He smiled, wearing a perfectly tailored suit in navy blue. "Mr. Grayson invited me. Mentioned he thought I should see your work firsthand. I flew in this morning." "You flew in from London?" "I had some business in New York anyway. Made sense to extend the trip." He looked around the ballroom. "This is spectacular, Simone. Truly spectacular." "Thank you. That means a lot." "Want to dance?" I hesitated for only a second. "I'd love to." We moved onto the dance floor. The DJ was playing something slow and romantic. Jordan was an excellent dancer, leading confidently but gently. "I'm glad you're here," I said honestly. "Me too. I've been wanting to see you in person again. 6 months is a long time to only text and call." "It is. Simone, I know the timing might not be perfect, but I need to be honest with you. I'm interested in you. As more than friends. I have been since Dubai." My heart fluttered. "Jordan? I'm not asking for anything right now. I know you've been through a lot. I know you're focused on your career. I just wanted you to know that when you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'm here. And I'm interested." I looked up at him. At this kind, successful, patient man who'd been nothing but supportive for months. Who'd flown across an ocean partly to see me. Who was offering me time and space while still being honest about his feelings. "I appreciate that. And I appreciate your patience. I'm not ready for anything serious yet. But I think, someday I might be. And when that day comes, I'd like to explore this. Us. That's all I need to hear." He smiled. "For now, let's just enjoy this dance." We danced through 2 more songs before I had to excuse myself to handle a catering question. But as I walked away, I felt something warm in my chest. Hope. Possibility. The beginning of something that could be good when the time was right. The gala continued until midnight. When the last guests finally left, my team and I collapsed into chairs, exhausted but thrilled. "We did it," Kennedy said. "This was the event of the year. Maybe the decade." "We raised over $2 million, Mr. Grayson announced, joining our group. $2 million for underprivileged youth programs. That's double our goal. And it's because of Simone's incredible work." Everyone applauded. I felt tears prick my eyes. "Thank you all," I said. "This was a team effort. Everyone here contributed to making tonight perfect." After cleanup, I drove home around 2 in the morning. I was bone-tired but happier than I could remember being in years. Maybe ever. I'd done it. I'd proven to myself that I was capable of extraordinary things. That I could build a successful business. That I could handle high-profile clients and major events. That I was enough all on my own. The next morning, I woke up to hundreds of messages. Photos from the gala flooding social media. Articles about the event in local news outlets. Clients reaching out to book me for their events. And one email that made me smile. From Jordan. "Last night was wonderful. Thank you for letting me be part of it. I'm back in London now, but I can't stop thinking about you. No pressure, remember? Just honesty. I hope our next dance is soon. Jordan." I typed back, "Thank you for coming. It meant more than you know. Let's talk soon about that next dance. Simone." Over the following weeks, my business exploded. The gala's success had made me one of the most sought-after event planners in the region. I had to hire more staff to keep up with demand. The second office I'd been considering became a necessity. I was featured in a major business magazine. Rising Stars in Event Planning. The article talked about my journey, my business philosophy, and the famous dodged a bullet party that had launched my visibility. 6 months after the gala, I stood on stage at an event planning conference, giving a keynote speech about building a business from the ground up. The ballroom was packed with people wanting to learn from my success. The key, I told them, is authenticity. Do work that matters to you. Build relationships that support you. And never, ever make yourself smaller to fit into someone else's vision of who you should be. The audience applauded. After my speech, dozens of people came up to talk to me, to ask questions, to congratulate me. I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. That evening, I met Jordan for dinner. He'd flown in for the conference, claiming he wanted to hear my speech. We sat at a quiet restaurant, talking and laughing like we'd known each other for years instead of months. "I'm proud of you," Jordan said. "Watching you build this life, this success. It's inspiring. Thank you for being part of it. For being patient with me." "Are you still needing patience?" he asked carefully. "Or are you ready for something more?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. Was I ready? "I think I am," I said slowly. "I think I'm ready to see where this could go. But slowly. I want to take it slow. Slow works for me. As long as we're moving forward together." We held hands across the table and I felt something settle in my chest. Contentment. The certainty that I was making the right choice, not because I needed someone, but because I wanted someone. This someone. Later that night, back at my apartment, I looked around at the life I'd built. The successful business. The beautiful home. The genuine friendships. The promising beginning with Jordan. The complete absence of Trevor from my thoughts. I'd done it. I'd turned the worst day of my life into the catalyst for the best version of myself. My phone buzzed. "Andre. Hey sis, just checking in. How's life?" I smiled and typed back, "Life is perfect. Actually, genuinely perfect. You deserve it. Proud of you." I sat on my couch, looking out at the city lights, and felt grateful. Grateful for the pain that had pushed me to grow. Grateful for the people who'd supported me. Grateful for the strength I'd found in myself. Trevor had done me a favor that day at brunch. He'd freed me from a life that wasn't right. He'd forced me to see my own worth. He'd pushed me toward a future that was bigger and better than anything I'd imagined. I didn't hate him anymore. I didn't love him either. I just felt neutral. Like he was a chapter in my story that had ended, making room for better chapters to come. And those chapters were just beginning. I picked up my laptop and opened a new document. 5-year business plan, I titled it. Then I started writing. Goals, dreams, possibilities. All the things I wanted to achieve, all the places I wanted my business to go, all the ways I wanted to grow. The future was bright, wide open, full of potential, and I was ready for all of it.